Welcome back to Serving Up Success with a Splash. I'm Bruce Kramer, the corporate cockroach. And I'm joined by
Angie Snowball, the Renaissance woman.
And I am Dr. Nawtej, the strategy doctor.
And today, boy, do we have a show. We're going to be talking about something that shapes every corner of your life, and that is trust. You can't have a successful marriage without it. You certainly can't raise kids without modeling it, and your career will never build unless you earn it, and you're never going to accelerate a business unless your employees and, of course, your clients trust you. So we're going to do a deep dive today, and we're going to be talking about trust in terms of life, relationships, and of course, as a business accelerator. So let's start breaking it down. But before we do that,
our drink today, we have a Trustful Manhattan. Yes, we drink a lot of Manhattans because we love bourbon in this group. So recipe is on our website and in our soon to come books. So pay attention.
And so before we begin, the other thing is don't forget to hit like and always subscribe, please. And thank you so much for always joining us. So let's get right to it. So there's 3 building blocks to building trust. That first building block is called competence. Can you do what you say you can do? So, do you follow through with your promises in terms of your family? And of course, does your product or service you advertise, your sales pitch, match actually what you do? That's what's meant by competence. The second is consistency. Trust grows through predictable patterns. No emotional roller coasters, no surprises. So that's building block 2. Number 3 is character. Are your values always present in terms of the decisions and behavior you make throughout the day and display throughout the day? So how do you show up when nobody's watching? And fairness with your clients or your business partners, even when it costs you. That's what's meant by character. So we have competence followed by consistency and then character. So with that, I'm going to open up with some questions. And who do I pick on? I think I'm going to go to Dr. D first.
Angie, pick on Angie. Bruce.
Where? So the and I'm going to ask you both this question. So I'm giving Angie a little unfair advantage right now. Where in your life, Dr. D, are you the most trusted right now, and why?
I feel like I'm on a game show.
Yeah. It's like a Mr. and Mrs. thing where, if I ask differently to Angie, it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to end up. So ask the question again, because I didn't quite understand it. Where are you?
So where in your life are you the most trusted, and why?
You mean in my relationships, in my work, anywhere?
Any of the 3, life, career, or business, where in your life are you most trusted and why?
So I'm going to be, and I hate doing this because I'm British, I want to say, it's, I'm a 5 out of 10, I want to say that, but I'm going to be immodest here. I think one of the things that people know about me, whether it's life, career, and business, it's that I'm trusted. People may not like me. Some people may not like me, but I'm definitely trusted.
They need to get to know you.
Yeah, that guy on Elm Street. You know, the guy on The Nightmare on Elm Street. That guy, Freddie. You didn't like it. But, but they're all there. I'm trusted because I think I know I say what I think. You see, I'm faffing around here now, because I don't really want to be. I don't want to come across as immodest. But and you asked why. It's because, and you've mentioned it. I've never broke it down that way, Bruce. Competence, consistency, and character. But I love the way you've broken it down. And I think the reason I'm trusted is, even if it's going to damage me, I'm going to do what I said I would do. So people know that I'm going to follow through, even if it's going to, if I said something stupid, I'm going to have to follow through with it, because I can't help myself but follow through with it. So
that's a good characteristic, though.
It is.
I like it, but I just don't like being immodest about it. I wish one of you two had said that about me rather than me saying it about myself. But
Well, I would have. That's what we should have done. Asked why each other. why we trust you.
Yeah, what a better way that would have been.
Oh, wow. Well, that was a great answer. And I do concur. And just like Angie said, I met you almost a year ago. In fact, maybe just a hair over a year.
It was over a year ago.
And that was the first thing out of a group of people that we were involved with. I went, that's one guy I could trust. And here we are.
And listen, I must say that before you go to Angie, I must say that about you as well. Your currency, Bruce, is trust. You may say, you may say wild, wacky things. You may offend people. You may not. You may be loving. But trust it's stamped on your forehead, Bruce. You are.
Well, it really is.
You really are. So that's obviously why we're working together. But anyway, it's Angie. Angie.
What about you? Where in your life? And by the way, we've been joined by a new co-host.
Yeah.
You're going to introduce?
I'm going to introduce Ozzy. He apparently heard you outside the door. He's like, where are you trusted most? Because he was scratching and pawing at the door, which he never does. You guys don't know this, but Ozzy is on every podcast at my feet or outside the door. And today he was like, excuse me, I'd like to get in. That's why I had to leave for a second.
Now, is he named after? Who's he named after? I don't want to make assumptions.
Okay, I know. Everybody, is he Ozzy Osbourne? No. Or was he Ozzy and Harriet? No, it was actually a mistake, like most things in my life. We thought we were getting a girl, and for whatever reason, we decided on Isabel. And so we were going to call her Izzy. And then we got a boy, and my son's not very creative. So he was like, oh God, okay, Ozzy. So that's why he's gone.
Well, welcome, Ozzy. All right. That's not going to get you off the hook, though, Angie. Where are you most trusted in your life right now, and why?
So I would like to think that my clients trust me because I do what I say I'm going to do, or if something happens and I can't do what I promised to do, I communicate that immediately. I own it, and I say, look, I know we were going to do this, or that, but I can't, for whatever reason, I can't do this, or I can't be there. And I let them know that that's going to happen. And that's the same thing that happens in my personal relationship. So my husband is the greatest thing that ever, helps me do everything. And everybody looks at us like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. Is your life perfect? Oh my gosh, so far from perfect. He listens every week. So he will be laughing his tuchus off saying, we are so far from perfect. But the reason we work is our trust. And when things don't work, we right away are like, oh my God, okay, this is broken. What are we going to do? Immediately communicate. So I think that the places where I'm trusted most, it's because of what you said, Bruce. Either I am doing what I said I would do, or I'm like Dr. Nawtej, or I'm trying my damnedest to do what I said I was going to do. And I will tell you what's going on when it doesn't happen.
Well, that's, both both great answers. The one thing that surprised me, because when we talked about this was going to be our topic, well, I was like, oh shit, trust is a big deal right now in the marketplace. You got more people peddling courses and books on everything about the importance of trust. And I thought, typically we limit this to like 30 minutes, maybe 40. Because Angie talks too much. No, I just
it's true. I love to talk. It's my favorite thing.
But
by the way, both of you talk too much.
That's true. See, I own it. I do.
but it does come down to those 3 building blocks. This competence, consistency, and character. And both your answers were laced with those 3 blocks. So it's much simpler than everybody leads on. But why it's simple in theory, in practice, we stumble. So that leads me to Angie. I'm going to turn it over to you. What happens when trust breaks? Because we've all been there.
I know.
So Angie, all yours.
This is the hardest part, right? Because it takes a really, really long time to build trust, even if you are doing all of those things. Some people not. Like Nawtej said, when I met Bruce, it was about 5 minutes in. I'm like, this guy is who he says he is. Whatever he wants to do, I'm in because I trust him. So there's people that have this certain level of authenticity that you just can't help but trust, right? But for a lot of people, especially in a business relationship, it takes a long time to build trust, and it takes one incident, one word, one sentence to break it. And to get it back, you have to work 10 times as hard as you did to get it the first time. So where do we start with that? I think one of the first things we do is we own it, right? And this is especially hard, and you guys can start thinking, I'm going to go through these, but your question is going to be around this. Even when it's not your fault, even when you think you're wrong, if you really want to repair trust, you have to own that you hurt someone. You have to own the impact of what happened. And then you have to own your part in what happened. So maybe you don't think they should be upset. Maybe you don't think you were offensive, but the fact is they were offended. And if you want to rebuild that trust, which is another question, sometimes trust is broken and it's just not the right person. Maybe you can't trust that person. Maybe you shouldn't get that relationship back. But if you want that relationship back, if you want to build that trust again, you have to own what happened, own the impact, own your part in it. And then you have to ask them, what do we do to get back to this? What's it going to take for us to get back to a trust relationship? And then you have to do it. Because actions speak louder than words. It's probably one of the first adages that ever happened. Oh. And it's so true. You have to do what you say you're going to do. So, we're going to start with Bruce. Because I want to see his face. I love when his face does that. It's my favorite. It's like, we need a t-shirt with your face doing that.
I gave you a break earlier.
I know.
Quid pro quo.
But Dr. Nawtej isn't feeling good today. So he gets a sick pass, literally.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a minute. So the question for Bruce is, how do you start repairing that trust? And do you have an example? These are going to be hard examples to share because a lot of trust is very personal, right? So if you don't have an example, that's okay. But can you think of a way that you can demonstrate when you had to rebuild trust and you didn't think it was your fault? You didn't think you were the one that broke that trust.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
what a good question. That's a horribly good question.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's not fair.
It's
Okay.
definitely not fair. It's definitely not fair.
Yeah. But
Man, now
these are
I've
the
got to
ones
think
I know.
You ask the question again quickly because it's so good. It's worthwhile repeating.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope I can remember what I said.
And it helps
For
by
the most
time.
I'm fine with time.
Look at the smart guy over there buying himself more time. He's buying them both time.
And
We
me
know
too. I'm
damn
alone
well
for the
he knows
ride.
what the question was, probably more than I do. But basically, when trust is broken and you don't think it was your fault, you do not think you were at the wrong end of that, but you still need to rebuild that relationship, where do you start? And do you have any type of example or situation that we can share with people? So, because that's when it becomes real, when you start to see like, oh gosh. I mean, I know, so as an example, I'll give you guys a second. I know that with there was a friend of mine, and certain things happened, and I was like, there is no way. Like, I went through everything. I talked to other friends. I'm like, tell me where I was wrong. I want to know what I did wrong, because I want to rebuild this. And I truly do not see what I did wrong. So nobody had anything. And then I thought, okay, it must be the lens, because I'm telling the story, right? So I'm only giving them the information that I'm seeing, right? So I just went to her and I said, I really don't understand. This is what I see. I would like to know what you see. I would like to know what I did, because I don't want to do it again. I want to make amends for whatever I did. But I got to be honest with you. From my lens, I can't see what it was, and I can't fix it if I don't know what it was. So we talked about it, and I won't tell you the end because she'll be mad, because we're friends now. But she listens. So, but at the end of the day, that's what fixed our friendship, was just saying, I don't know. You have to help me. I wish I did. And I did own it too. I'm like, I'm sorry, because I obviously did something wrong, but I don't know what it was and I can't fix it. So Bruce, your turn. Do you have any advice for people that are in?
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of combining. One would be personal relationships. Not my first wife. So who's ever listening, I know this isn't her. I've had just a few others. and then the second would be work related. And so I think, you both always comment that I'm a bit quirky. I'm a hard charger. I'm very direct, and I'm very hyper. and, and so a lot of times my behavior can be mistaken. So for instance, in my career, people always thought, because as I mentioned before, I was usually assigned to things that needed to be improved, and they were looking sometimes, to be quite frankly, for someone that was a little more aggressive, and you're either on the bus or under the bus type leadership approach. And some people would mistake that for me wanting to grow my career. Oh, you just, you're doing this. And the honest God truth was, no, this is a great learning opportunity. Evidently, they think this is somewhat impossible. And that's what really, really turns me on. So, that's why I pursue these types of assignments, and heaven forbid, some weren't always successful, but most of them were. Now, so that led sometimes to skepticism and lack of trust when I'd walk into a team. Key leaders that surrounded me were right away, what's he here for? This is another one of those, is he here to make a name for himself, and is he going to bury some of us along the way? And so I think the way I approached it is very similar to what you described. I would say, listen, I would take them one-on-one. By the way, did you go to the woodshed with Bruce? That was I kid you not. And I'm not proud of that. But what the woodshed was, all right, tell me whatever you're thinking. You can, you call me any name under the book, but let's get everything out on the table. And give me an opportunity to respond whatever your concerns might be with me. Because to your point, I can't earn your trust if there are things that I think I've got covered, but in reality, I don't. And to be honest, in my career, the number one was, well, sometimes, Bruce, we don't feel heard. It's like you come in here, you're very focused, you know what you want to do, and come hell or high water, you're going to do it. We just want to, we want to be along for the ride. We don't want to be under the bus.
That's a
But
great point. You have to
yeah, and
understand
so
the
that
person you're working
feedback
with.
was honest. So
Mhm.
most of my trust related issues was my demeanor. I'm such a hard charger that people just, and to be honest, you all know I talk more than I listen. And I'm still learning to not do that. So that was one of the things that there was a pattern that I got better and better. I went from 1.0 to 4.0 over 4 decades before I left that organization. But that was due to trust at the forefront and just being, making people tell me, what don't you trust about me? Tell me. Nothing bad's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And once they told you, then it's that pattern of, oh boy, I'm probably off the team now. And in some cases, people got promoted because I never liked the yes people. I can ferret
Yeah.
those out. I love people to argue with me, to disagree with me, and those people got promoted. So along with me not only listening and then changing my behavior to make sure they were all involved, over time, trust grew without me even introduced, because they had said one thing about Bruce, you could trust him. Like
Yeah.
Nawtej said, you might think he's full of shit. We're
Yeah.
going down, we're
Speaking
going to
of,
go
let's
over the
let
cliff,
Nawtej speak.
but you can trust him.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
that would be one. And that also played out in my personal life a lot of times because of my demeanor. So I'm going to quit because I took too much time.
No, you're good. Well, this is why it's hard to make Bruce stop talking, because he says such great stuff. You guys don't know this, but when we turn the recording button off, a lot of times it's like, hey, can you finish that story? Hey, I want to hear the rest of that stuff. It's very good. Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I love that you brought up, you had to change the patterns. You had to do that. So, Dr. D, you're British. You don't have to give us an example, because I know, that would really make you crazy. But you can if you want. If you want to be non-British, we might catch them on cold and flu medicine here. You might tell us stuff.
Let's see how it goes in the next 30 seconds.
But yeah, let's talk about patterns and ways that things you've done to repair trust.
So I think I'm not going to repeat all the things Bruce said, but all the things Bruce said so eloquently, because I think I've had the same issues sometimes. Well, I can be misread, misjudged. I don't think I'm hyper in the sense Bruce is hyper, but I'm fast. I'm working fast all the time. I'm not really taking a breath, and that can be misconstrued as
blunt,
not being trusting. I don't think I've had a big issue with it, but there have been times. The only thing I want to add is that, and I know this is true of you two as well, but you haven't said it this way, is that if there's a trust that breaks and it's not my fault, I don't do this thing of thinking, right, I'm going to hate that person. I just don't bother. Like you two don't. I don't do this. Well, it wasn't my fault, so I'm going to hate that person. I'm going to be careful of that person. I just don't bother. And the reason I don't is that decades ago, somebody once said to me, an American guy once said to me, don't drink poison and hope the other guy dies.
You say that a lot. I love it.
If you think bad things about somebody, it's not going to hurt anybody else. Right. It's going to eat you on the inside. So I just don't bother doing that. If the relationship doesn't get repaired, it doesn't get repaired, but I don't bother wasting my time, my emotional energy on it. So all the things
that's really key. Yeah, like I'm going to give it to Nawtej to talk to the science, but that is so true. And that's something I carried with me way too long. I felt like it was always my responsibility to fix trust, especially certain relationships. I'm like, gosh, we've been friends for 30 years, or family. Or things happen. I'm like, you know what? I don't hate you. I'm not giving that, because like you said, that's on me. I don't want that energy in my life. I don't need that. But it also, I don't have to be stupid. I had a pastor once that said, Matthew, I'm Catholic. I don't remember verses, but he said, Matthew, something, forgive him 7 times 7. And the pastor said, I was like, well, what about that? And he goes, yeah, forgive is different than forget. You don't have to go back to that situation. You can forgive somebody, not hate them, and move on, but you don't have to put yourself back in it because you're not stupid. God didn't make you stupid. Don't be stupid. And I was like, oh, thank you. So, Dr. D, talk to us about the science of it all. Like, why is this so important?
We sort of covered this once before a few episodes ago, and luckily I love talking about it so much. I'm going to talk about it again. Trust was in the evolution of our species, in our early past, in our distant past, but our early existence. Trust. There was nothing more important than trust. It was more important than being the best. I don't know. Somebody being the strongest guy. It was stronger than the person who could gather the most berries or the most nuts for the community, because trust has ensured the survival of the group. It absolutely ensured the survival of the group. We were in groups of up to about 250 humans, and everybody had a role, and there had to be absolute trust. And trust made us. It's still valuable. It's still super valuable, but when it's life and death, it's even more valuable. And at that time, it was life and death. Yes. But the same things apply that I'm going to tell you. When trust is present, you can all work together. You can think more clearly. You're not being distracted by politics, by somebody gossiping, by somebody saying something over there. You're not being distracted. So you're doing your best work. The risks that you think about are healthy risks rather than risks which you could do without. You connect more deeply as humans. You just do better work. And it's all based on being predictable, being transparent, and being proactive. And I hope that's sort of, because I've rushed through it, and the reason I've rushed through it is because I have some questions that I want to ask you to. But essentially, trust has been important in our species since the first man and woman, and it's still important. It was life important, but it's still just as important.
Before you ask us questions, because I don't want to get the answer wrong. And you're smarter than me by a lot. So one of the things that comes up with trust a lot is that humans fear stuff they don't know. Where does that come from? Does that come from the same idea? Where does that come from?
So I think it comes from a lot of different places. There's not one place. The thing that I find most intriguing and interesting is that we had fear from our earliest times, and having fear, even if we were wrong, was beneficial to us, because having fear that there was, in the rustle of the grass, there was a tiger or a lion, but getting it wrong didn't lead to anything negative. Not having fear and thinking, oh, that was just the wind in the grassland, but then a lion or a tiger appeared. That
cool.
wasn't a good thing. So fear was a good driver for our survival.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
It comes from lots of places, but that fear was a great driver for our survival. And here's a question I want to ask you too. Can you trust a great poker player?
Holy crap, that's a good question.
You go for that one first, and then got a different question for Bruce. Could you trust a great poker player? You know what I mean by great poker player?
Yeah.
Somebody who's hiding their feelings, somebody who's can smile when they don't really mean they don't really mean that. Can you trust somebody like that?
So I think it's obviously going to be on an individual basis, but I would not say that you can't trust a poker player, because that's their job. Like, there are people that are professional poker players, and if they're really good, they probably are. That's their job. And when they leave their job, they can be someone different. And trust isn't built just because you can, not not blink when you're lying or whatever. I tend to laugh when I try to lie. I'm so bad at it. It's very funny. So it's same as like an actor, an actress, right? Do I believe that you're Superman, you can fly? No. When you leave, you're not going to fly. Just because when you're at work, you're in the movies, you're Superman, you fly. When I meet you in person, you're not going to fly. So, to me, that's how I would see that. What do you think, Bruce?
I don't disagree at all, because that you're right. That's the poker player's talent or skill, is the ability not to show or disclose at any given moment what's really in his hand. So in fact, I think just the opposite. I probably trust that person because, damn, you're good at this.
I mean, okay, I would say the opposite of that, though. I would say it's probably harder to build trust with someone that you know can lie for a living, bluff. Let's say lie is a hard word for poker. But also that's why I'm so bad at poker. If I win poker, it is because I got lucky. And nobody wants to play with me either, because if I put all in, everybody's like, she's not lying. Everybody folds,
Yeah.
So, I think it would be harder to maybe build trust.
Yeah.
But
what we're saying is you don't necessarily distrust them, but because they're not predictable and always transparent, they may send off the wrong signal about
Correct.
trust. People may not trust them. But Bruce, here's one for you. And I think this one really is a great one for you. When you first meet people, do you automatically trust them, distrust them, or are you somewhere in between and you judge the factors and their personality in the first few minutes and you're somewhere in between? Are you zero trust, 100 maximum trust, or are you somewhere in between? How do you do that as a you probably already thought about it, but how do you do it?
Yeah. So first of all, I always start out trusting, because just like you, a big part of my being, the one thing that would destroy me is if people didn't trust me. So I want to give that back. But something you just said that's interesting, because I do subconsciously, I go into this thing, and in my conversation, the very first time I meet someone, I try to learn a little bit about their life, their career, or business. But one of the things that it just dawned on me as we were talking, especially about that poker player. Are you the same person in your life, career, and work? And if somebody says, oh, yeah, I'm a whole nother person at work, all of a sudden the red trust flag goes up.
Right.
Because to me, trustworthy people are the same person, whether they're, dealing with life issues, business issues, their career. If you're not one and the same, right away, authenticity and trust flags go up.
I think that too. And people say that, they're different for whatever reasons. But at your core, you're the same. Like I may curb the way I speak based on your personality, so you're not offended or something, but the core of me is the same at work, in work and life, career and business is the same.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that, because I remember in my early 20s when I started out on work after university, I tried to be uber professional, or what I thought was the definition of uber professional at work. So I wasn't really showing all of myself. I wasn't really conveying who I really was. And it wasn't good, because I was being misread. And then over time, I just thought, I just really like having a good time. I love working hard, but I love having a good time. I'm just going to be that person all of the time. And you're right. It served me well. And there's somebody else once said to me, and he said it to you as well, Bruce, about a year ago, who you are one time is who you are all of the time.
Yeah.
That's good.
You can't compartmentalize who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great
that's
point.
true. I like what you said too, Dr. Nawtej, your time. There's nothing wrong if you need time to trust someone. And there's nothing wrong if it takes time for someone to trust you. In the
Yeah.
meantime, you're still who you are. Don't change who you are. And if they're not going to trust you, that's okay. There are 1,000,000 millions of other people that will have the right relationship. Maybe it's something with them that, and just don't I love that. You said time, and you also said in the beginning, you said, I don't have time for this. I'm just going to move forward. I don't
Yeah.
hang on with it. And that's, I think, very important because our energy is a limited resource and we need to be careful where we spend it and where we use it. So
And you
I
can
love
damage
that.
your health. You can
Yeah.
literally
Yes.
damage your arteries by.
Okay, so now I'm the one looking at the clock.
Oh,
One
okay.
key takeaway, really quick,
Responsibility.
and we're going to go at one key takeaway, and then by popular demand, we brought the weekly assignment back. We
Yeah.
heard from some of our
Kelly.
viewers that they wanted that. All right,
Yeah,
so real quick,
Kelly.
your key takeaway, Angie.
I think that was mine. That it's okay to take time. It's okay if you can't trust someone, to walk away from that situation. Always start out positive and hopeful. Don't start out negative, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you have to move forward. If
Yep.
that's where you are, it's okay.
Dr. D.
So my key takeaway this week is that after the show, when we stop recording, I'm going to carry on talking to you two and carry on taking notes about what you two say, because what you've been saying this week is just fantastic. And I'm going to take notes and then I'm going to plagiarize it shamelessly.
Oh, God. Okay, so with that, I want to go into the weekly assignment. So just get out. It's real simple. So if anyone listening, and thank you for listening, choose one area, either in your life, career, or business, and think in terms of one relationship where trust could be stronger. So that's step one. Step two is choose one behavior you're going to change with this individual. It might be things like, I'm going to do a better job at following through. I'm going to listen more. I'm going to explain more of my reasoning, be more transparent. And I'm going to be more predictable. Those are just some examples. But choose the area, the individual you're going to focus on, and then what behavior. And then very simply, step three, when you get to the end of next week, simply reflect, did I do what I said I was going to do? And did it make any difference with that individual in terms of the level of trust? So that's it for this week. So remember, your trust isn't a leadership skill. It's a life skill, and build it well, and everything else will become much easier. So with that, cheers, hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.